The last topic in this chapter is exercise-associated muscle cramps, which are painful spasming of the muscle. So your skeletal muscles are basically involuntarily contracting, and it causes a lot of pain. This can happen during exercise, immediately after exercise, and it's also commonly known to occur at night. Like they call those nocturnal cramps. The nocturnal cramps may or may not be exercise related. They could be related to extreme muscle fatigue, but there could also be other causes also. The cause of exercise-associated muscle cramps is not completely understood. Again, like a lot of things that we've talked about this semester, there are multiple causes, and there are probably some causes that we don't yet know about. So there's two major theories to explain the cause of these muscle cramps: muscle fatigue and heat. So muscle fatigue, basically the cause is that the muscles are overworked. And so the mechanism is probably that the neuromuscular control of the muscle is somehow inhibited. So somehow altered. And this is causing the excitation of the muscle spindle and inhibition of the GTO. And as you know, muscle spindle causes contraction, GTO causes relaxation. So if the muscle spindle is firing and the GTO is inhibited, you're going to get more than usual contractions. Some of the risk factors that we think are associated with these are age. As you get older, these types of cramps tend to be more common. Poor stretching habits. Okay, because it could be that you need to stretch more. Sometimes it's a cramping history. Sometimes it's genetic. Some people just have more cramps than others. And also could just be excessive exercise, excessive intensity, excessive duration. So multiple things, and we'll come back to this type of cramp in a couple minutes. The second type are heat cramps, and the cause of heat cramps is either excessive sweating or dehydration. The mechanism is thought to be either low sodium and chloride, because when you sweat you lose sodium and chloride, and if you lose it at a greater rate that you replace it, this can lead to the cramps. Also, it could be due to low plasma volume, so low water. So when you sweat excessively, not only do you lose fluid and water, but you lose sodium and chloride. And when these things are out of balance, it's thought that they can cause a shift, and the neuromuscular junctions become hyperexcitable. So they start spontaneously initiating action potentials to the muscles, and so the muscles just start to contract. Risk factors would be excessive sweating. Okay, so this is going to happen more often in hot, humid environments, and dehydration. Okay, so not replacing your fluids. So treatment and prevention. So the treatment and prevention is going to be different based on the cause of the cramps. It's always hard to know what caused the cramps, and so sometimes you want to try multiple treatments to see what you can get to work. We don't know a lot about the best treatment and prevention strategies, so it's just best to try some different things. If the cause of the cramps is fatigue related, some of the things that you should do are basically rest, okay, because it could be that your muscles are just overworked. they need to rest. You could do some passive slow stretching. That may help to break the cramps, to stop the cramps. And another one would be to force the GTO. Okay, so for instance, if your quadricep was cramping, contract that quadricep and develop high tension in the quadricep and see if you can get GTO to fire, because that will help that muscle to relax. Because again, remember that the cramp is because the muscle is contracting uncontrollably and you're trying to get it to relax. So you could try to use GTO to break it. If the cause is electrolyte disturbance, okay, because you've either lost too much water or you've lost too much sodium and chloride, you could ingest a sodium solution. Okay. Or take in some fluids. Okay. And your sodium solution could be something like Gatorade, and ingest some fluids. So you want to replace those electrolytes that may be out of balance and replace the fluids that may be out of balance. And I would try all these things to see if you can get something to work. Now, as far as prevention, again, it depends on the cause. So if it's fatigue related, then maybe you need some more conditioning. Okay, so sometimes when you first start working out, when you haven't worked out in a while, you get a lot of cramps, and then slowly over time, as you become more fit, those cramps will go away. So sometimes it just requires some conditioning, and you just need to wait it out. You may need to stretch a little bit more, particularly the muscles that are prone to the cramps. And then the third would be just to reduce the intensity and duration of the exercise until you get your conditioning back. Slowly come back, or maybe you're increasing too fast. So back off and reduce that intensity and duration. Bring it up slowly and see if you can get the cramps to stop. If it's an electrolyte deficit, obviously it's going to have something to do with your nutrition. So you want to make sure that you're taking in enough fluids and enough electrolytes. Okay, the sodium and the chloride.